Hello, Sunshine Robbie here, and Willow. Hi, Willow. Say hi. Um, Today I had a feeling of feeling demanded, and it felt a bit overwhelming and uncomfortable. And I wanted to share what happens when you start to become aware of these emotions or sensations that come up in a day, in situations, in your interactions with people. Because as you go through healing processes, looking within, looking into you, you're going to start to notice these emotions before they are emotions. You're going to notice as they are energy transmuting through your body, which then elicits a way of thinking, a thought process, which then elicit an emotion, which we see as trigger. And this is how we go into repetitive cycle. But after you go through these awarenesses and you pick it up and you work through it, you do your cognitive work, you do energy work, you do your physical work, you do your energy release, and you re-signify that belief or that thought process or that understanding to a more resonant understanding for you today, you will definitely become more aware of these moments where you feel your energy shift. And this feeling of demand can come from childhood, perhaps parents that overwhelmed themselves dealing with their own demons, emotionally unavailable, but when they are not fully 100% with you. They are also multitasking, they're busy, they're workaholics, they're not as present. And they're also going through a overwhelming feeling with everything that's going on, finance, work, family, personal, life purpose, everything. And what happens is sometimes these parents will try to rush you into becoming more responsible for things that you can do yourself. And through that rush, there's the demand, there's the constant demand. Do this, do that, do that, do this. You also could be the older child that becomes more responsible for the younger children. And even the younger children can also feel demanded by the older child as well, because they're feeling demanded, therefore they're passing on all these demandings, the needs that's being passed on from the parent to the older child to the younger child. So what happened is there's this ancestral pass on of this overwhelming feeling when you are being demanded, and that feeling can play out in waves in our lives, right? It can play out through work, through university, through studies, through family demands, life in general demands, right? Managing a home, managing multitasking, home and work and family. And I'm sure every parent has been there in these overwhelming feeling demand. So I wanted to bring this perspective because it comes from a very young age, very young age. It doesn't come from that moment right there. And it has been repeating itself for many, many times through in your life, right? In your situations, in your stories, in your moments. And I had to sit with this energy, with this feeling, and I had to go back to the first moment I felt demanded. And the first moment I felt demanded was when I used to do ballet classes, and I was pushed to start to get ready on my own. And I think I perhaps was too young to do it all by myself, not knowing how to get prepared and put everything that I needed to put on to go to a ballet class. And if you think of ballet tights, they're very complex to put it on, very difficult. And perhaps that was my first feeling, I think, putting that ballet tights on. And from that point on, I became aware of this demand feeling. So in all the situations going forward in my life, those feelings came on when, when the situations was perhaps demanding more than what I could do, or I could understand, or I was capable of doing, or producing or performing, right? And it repeats itself in life. It repeats in many situations, many stories, many moments. And it can then trauma bond with other situations in your life. Sometimes it can be finance, so then there's a finance link to it. Sometimes it can be work related, and then there's a work relationship to it. So I had to sit with this and feel, rise up my body again. And I needed to take that moment to look at that little girl as well, do my inner child reflection. And I imagine myself adult now, knowing all the resources I know today, going to that little girl and saying, it's okay if you're struggling, if you think you can't do it. I'm here to help you and assist you to do what you can, and when you can't, I will help you. And every day you're going to learn a little bit more how to do better. You don't have to learn all at once. And you can say when you're struggling, nothing's going to happen to you. And I forgave that version of me, that inner child version of me that didn't have the understanding and the resources to see that perspective. And I send her love and forgiveness, forgiving her, forgiving that version of me for not knowing how to consciously operate in that moment. And then I started to have flashbacks from all the moments of demanding feelings that I had in my life. And I was getting older and older and older in this moment. So I started to then forgive all those versions as well. And with that, I'm doing with intent. I'm doing with my heart. I'm doing out loud for me to hear, for my subconscious to hear. And I'm breathing, and as I'm breathing, I'm feeling the shift, I'm feeling the energy shifting, I'm feeling the energy moving, and I'm breathing out. And I got to today, and I went through all the versions, and I got to today, and today, when I was at that moment, when I felt demanded, I actually said, I forgive you, Robbie, for feeling demanded, for all the old times that you felt demanded, for all the times. You see it now as an old behavior, and you're able to shift right now and step into a new behavior. And this is exactly what I did at that moment. I felt demanded today. I told myself that there's a different way of seeing this, that the demand isn't that real, isn't that great, isn't that big, isn't that detrimental, and that the energy is still lingering a little bit and you can shift. And I shifted, and I stepped into the situation without feeling demanded. And when I stepped into the situation without that energy surrounding me, I realized that the situation had no demand whatsoever. Okay, it was a simple moment, and it was just old energies coming up, old feelings coming up. And even now talking, I can still feel a little bit of a shift. I feel a bit of my throat. I feel a bit of my solar plexus, and I feel my heart. I feel my heart opening. And sometimes we can do this by talking to a friend. That friend can hold space for you to do your moment, your breathing. And the fact that we do it is speaking, it means that the voice that we hear, our own voice, is very accepted by our subconscious, which then helps shift and re-signify the subconscious. And from that moment now, I understand that when these old energies, old patterns, old energies, patterns and emotions and thought processes come up, that I can shift. If I'm aware, I can shift. If I'm not aware, I will understand later and eventually be able to get through the healing process with that. But because I've already done the healing process many times through different depths and different stories, the idea now is that these are coming up as old crumbs, right? Leftovers. And I'm working through it. And I wanted to share this because this is what happens on a day-to-day basis when you are in this healing journey. It's living this multidimensionality, right? You stepping into the 3D but feeling the 5D all at the same time. You are in between worlds, and how do you merge the worlds? How do you work with the worlds to then create this healing? And this healing was just happened today, yeah? So I'm here sharing, and I hope that you can join us on Patreon membership, because this is where we learn these, and this is where we create the perception. We understand what's going on with ourselves. We can ask questions and understand what's happening. What am I sensing? Why am I feeling this now? What am I noticing? And how you can work and use these, your own abilities. These are magical moments that you can use for yourself. So I highly recommend you claim your free call. That would be a free call for you to claim. Any week. We're always on a call on a Thursday, and I look forward to seeing you there. Okay, and I hope this has been helpful. Thank you very much.